He hane wash day chue. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I have an exciting day today. Today is the start of my new year, beginning of spring. That's when I celebrate my new year. So I'm excited as well as being thankful for all the miracles. I woke up today and that's a miracle. And for those of you that are listening, you are a miracle. You realize that every time you wake up to another day, that's a miracle and you have a purpose in life. I just wanted to go ahead and start off with saying we had a very enjoyable weekend last weekend, didn't we?
We sure did. We had a blast.
A very spiritual little trip to Devil's Tower. Sent our prayers out to everybody and just enjoyed a lot of laughs. Today the topic is sacred altars for our religious ceremonies. A lot of our ceremonies, I would probably say. But first of all, let me go ahead and start out with a prayer. Tungashila ambetule wopila tanka akio kikta naha ambetu on yakobina tungashila wopila tanka. Ungana ho chanteshi jab seche na ho kujab seche ash tungashila hina etu stikyo echakat naha da zania unkde we choni ab chahe tungashila we focus on our lives as to knowing that we can better our lives. I send my prayers out in all four directions for all of your creation and for your gifts that you give us on a daily basis. Oh, Wopila Tanka. Tungashila, I think, kind of gave me a lot of insight. This past week, going up to Devil's Tower and being in the ceremony, everything happens for a reason. And the timing just kind of fell into place because we were involved in the ceremony. Kind of a surprise to me. Didn't really realize we were going to be participating in the ceremony, and it just kind of gave me a lot more insight to what my topic is going to be today. I just wanted to go ahead and let you know that what I say, what I know, is basically my teachings from my father, some of the ceremonies I went through, but one of the most important things that I probably will start off with is to know that our ancestors, just pretty much came into existence in the broad universe, and for all the natural forces in life, they didn't really understand, although they knew there was creation. And so they pretty much, like anybody else, we gained wisdom, and some of the people were chosen to be the wise people, or the Wichashawakans, the holy man. And everything that they took into consideration with the natural forces of life, the sun, the moon, the wind, rain, weather, anything. And the animals, they watched them, apparently, as this is what, according to my dad, he says, everything around you, he says, when you focus on everything and you watch everything around you, he said, you will understand why things happen the way they do. And I grew up that way. I was taught to be disciplined, to watch my surroundings, and to try to understand. And for most of us, I think we lost touch with that. And so, anyway, as I see my life and what I've experienced in my life, I came to the conclusion when we talk about Hočoka, our sacred altar, we have to remember that we are at the center of this altar, the Hočoka. We are at the center, especially women, and I really believe that we as women are the life givers. Somehow we were chosen. So one of the ceremonies that I had gone through, I really had to understand this, but through my womanhood ceremony, I was put in the middle of a circle, and I remember that circle being blue and green and me sitting in the middle. Well, I didn't understand a lot of things at my age. At that time I was 12 years old and didn't really understand what was happening. But of course, me being inquisitive, I've asked a lot of questions, and some of the things that were told to me all pretty much went back into the symbology of everything that was done, and every object that was used in the ceremonies has a symbol of why we do things. Because in the beginning, like I had said, our ancestors really didn't understand, but they knew there was forces of nature that things have happened. So they pretty much looked at the sky, the moon, the sun, everything, and knew there was a higher power. And so as they explained to me, and as my father explained to me, it makes me really realize that we are sacred and we are our own altar, the Hočoka, because Hočoka actually means in the center. In the center. So as we do our ceremonies, we say we have an altar, and I'm sure every one of you have your own altar, you have your own objects, and you believe. But most of all, everything that we have as being that sacred object in that altar or being around your altar, you got to remember that you are here for a reason, and you are an object of and part of this universe. So anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and kind of explain to you, and there's various ways in regards to ceremonies, and one of the things that people don't really understand is when we have our religious ceremonies, as we say, our spiritual ceremonies, there's 3 different kinds of ceremonies that we go through, where there's an altar, and there's a healing ceremony, which we call wakia. That's the healing ceremony, and that's where, when somebody is sick, you come, we all pray, but within that altar, whoever the medicine man is has different objects, maybe the prayer flags, the prayer ties. Some of them use the spirits of animals, whether if it's the eagle, the bear, the wawakia. Sometimes we have the rocks, because in the beginning of time, we believe that they were the first existence, and water. So in the altars, when you see they close in a little space, and they have the prayer flags around it where the medicine man sits, and he has all of his objects. And water is always there, water and sage, sweet grass, whatever, the gourds. But even with the objects there, everything symbolizes that the power of the natural forces and the animals all has that power to bring into that altar. So with that, every altar is different, and your altars out there probably have different objects that you believe in. But one of the things that I really want to emphasize today is to know that you must remember, or we forget, that we are the center of that altar ourselves, that we must take care of ourselves. We must always remember that if we see ourselves as an altar, that we should always purify, to go ahead and take the negativity, even in our thoughts, our emotions. And here's one of the tricky things of it is basically, we always say, in fact, I was telling Denise, during our journey. I think after I came back, just driving back from South Dakota, I come to the conclusion that we have everything within us as that altar. Our intuition is built within us. However, as we have our Extoni stories, and we use Extoni stories, the spider, because there's trickery in it, and what I kind of base that on is it's our ego. We always are pressured by ego. So when we think about our altars, think about the battle that we have. We have the how would you say? It's basically we have impurities, I guess, in our thoughts every day, and we must clean ourselves because we are the altars and we are sacred. So anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and talk about the sacred objects. Denise, I don't know, you've been in several, well, you have your own Hočoka yourself too, so I know that you see your eagle feathers or whatever it is. Can you explain in regards to what you see as the symbolism of some of your objects in your ceremonies?
Well, actually, in excuse me, out on my altar, I have the buffalo skull, Tatanka. That is a sacred object. And on either side, I have prayer poles from, well, one is from Crow Dog's Paradise, and the other one is from Arval's place in Greengrass. So there's that Sundance energy, Sundance prayers that are always there as well. Inside the inipi, I do have an eagle feather that is hanging. But the very first time that I poured inipi there at Barb's place, the next morning, Buzz went out to that Hočoka, and there was a thunderbird feather perfectly placed in the center of that Hočoka mound. And Buzz came and got me, and he said, "You have to come up here and look at this." And he said, "From now on, you always hang this feather inside your inipi, because overnight the Thunder Nation came and blessed your ceremony, blessed your Hočoka. So this always goes inside." So I do have an eagle feather, and I also hang that thunderbird feather because the thunderers came and blessed that ceremony. And you know that I have all of the different color ties, ribbons inside my inipi that represent all of the directions. And the extra one, the purple one, Joaquin told me I always needed the purple one so that people would understand that I grew up as a Christian. I grew up Catholic. And so that's very symbolic for people who understand the colors. And sometimes there's a rattle in there if I need to do some medicines with the rattle, but it depends on what spirit tells me is going to happen inside that inipi. So they do change up, don't they, Chue?
I think they do. Like several of the ceremonies, especially the one that we were at last weekend, there's different spirits that come in and they announce themselves. But with every Wichashawakan that does the ceremonies, again, I wanted to get back to the healing ceremony, is Wapia. But there's also the main, I guess the most powerful one is, they say, Uwipi. And that is when the medicine man is tied up by the spirits. While the man, his helpers tie him up, and that is basically one of the strongest ceremonies, is the Uwipi. Right. And then they say that this is where you are at the mercy of the spirits, because whatever that ceremony is about is so serious. So this is a way that they show us to say that, this medicine man being tied up is sacrificing himself also to go ahead and make sure, that the spirits are drawn in, and to know that, the whatever request is done, or is wanted is being answered.
Right.
The other ceremony that we have, which has an altar, is Lawampi, which means a thing. And people don't know those three things. And I guess one of the things that I want to go ahead and emphasize is when you go to a ceremony and they say, Wapia is, like I said, the healing. So you kind of know what kind of flags, what's going to happen. Somebody's going to get doctored there. They give them the medicine man. The medicine man gives them a medicine that was selected by the spirits. And sometimes it doesn't happen there. Sometimes it's like, okay, go pick this, or the medicine man usually picks the medicinal or the medicine to help heal.
Mm-hmm.
The Lawampi is just basically kind of like a generalized gathering of people that sing and bring their prayers, and so the medicine man or the spirits hear all your prayers. So that's the difference, between the three ceremonies that I know of and the way they explain to me. Excuse me. But everything that is in that altar has a symbol. Long time ago, the prayer flags used to be made by buckskin, and they used to color it up with the natural colors of the earth, and they called that wase. Wase, sometimes you had to go long distance to get the earth color and to mix it with tallow, and you make the color of it, and you put it on the prayer ties, and so that's the way it used to be long time ago. But as we became advanced, then we start using the material color. The prayer flags, and the gourds that are in there. Usually the gourds. I've never seen Lakota use a turtle gourd in their ceremony. However, they use rawhides that have been blown up, and that's what they have in there. Usually the medicine man sits on a buffalo robe, because that was one of the symbols that this song we brought is when she turned into a buffalo. So that's kind of a symbol that they usually use when they sit on a buffalo robe.
Mm-hmm.
And the what do you call it? The Uweepi man. He's usually tied up in a star quilt, and that star quilt pretty much symbolizes our Star Nation people. The star people.
Right.
So when that happens, that it's kind of a serious thing when you're calling upon your ancestors or the star people.
Uh-huh.
So if there's any other questions out there that I know a lot of you do not or have not attended the ceremony, but it's quite interesting, and I think it's just your belief system, whatever it is that you believe in regards to what you have at your little altars, candles, your crystals, or little things, little articles of whatever that you believe in that heals you. Always make sure that you purify that, and you're of pure mind, because they say if we don't take ourselves seriously, we just, this is just the belief that I always think is, if you're not pure in mind, you take out the negativity, again, that's a challenge that we have. We can go ahead and say all our prayers, but if our mind is unclear and probably your emotions are fluttering here and there, sometimes that's not going to work,
Mm-hmm.
So if some of you have altars, always make sure you purify as often as possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's not very much other thing that I can explain in regards to people listening if you have not experienced being in a ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
But first thing that we do after a ceremony is, we smoke the chanupa, because that is saying, okay, all our prayers are going up, We all gather and we take our prayers together when we smoke that chanupa. And then water is passed around where we all drink, because that's wichoni. Water gives us life.
Right.
So those are just some of the things that I wanted to explain, and I'm not really sure what else I can say, Denise, because
let's talk about Dell. When I got to South Dakota, actually when you got to South Dakota, and you know that I'm preparing to be put up on the hill, you gifted me with something very special. You and Della gifted me with those beautiful bowls. Maybe you could explain why you gifted those wooden bowls to me.
Oh, well, when you go for an Humblecha, everything again goes back to the life forces. Everything that you use when you go up on a vision quest is going to be natural. So when a person goes up and you build your altar out there where you sit, you have everything that's going to be natural. So there's no plastic, there's no metal or anything that you take up there, because you're also offering yourself in a natural way. So when we brought you those bowls, they were wooden bowls, and the whole part of the wooden bowls is basically, that's the strength that you have. The fortitude, the symbol of a tree that stands for strength, that withers a storm and everything else. So we use wooden bowls, and that's what you should take up. And you have your water bowls, that should be with wood, So everything that's taken up there should be as simple. Something of nature. I know that the mila, which is a knife, you have to take up a knife that's never used, and that knife should have a wooden handle as well. But the metal part of it is basically the symbol of the rock, or the ian, or the metal that we take out of the earth. Mm-hmm. So every little thing that you use up there, or people use up there, means something, or is a symbol of life itself, the life that's been given to us, that's been gifted to us.
Beautiful. When I was talking to Ivan Looking Horse this week, he's going to be the one putting me up on the hill for Homblecha. It's interesting, Dell, because I was asking him, what are some of the things that he would like me to have prepared, and he is having me create some buckskin prayer ties.
Oh, wow.
The old
now
way.
That's really back to the traditional.
Yeah, very traditional. Right. So I thought you would enjoy hearing that.
Yes, and the whole part of it is even the tobacco ties. If he wants you to make those, it's probably not going to be tobacco, but chashasha, which is the bark of the red willow. Those are some of the things that everything that you offer back as you're sitting there with your prayers is basically you're offering back to the Tunkashilas, or the Wakantanka,
Mm-hmm.
So that is just basically some of the things that I know, and I am kind of looking forward to having the woman empowerment gathering. I think we probably said early fall or whatever.
Yes. You and I are going to set up those dates so that you will be here in the early autumn.
Yeah, and there, I think, would be quite interesting because although I'm not I don't have the luxury of saying this is what I can teach or this is what it is. I just want to show people what I had gone through when I went through my womanhood ceremonies, to keep in mind how sacred we are. We are life givers as women, and also to have men understand, that they are part of life. They are sacred too, but for some reason, the deeper thought of it is, why was it that we were selected to keep life going?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we have to keep ourselves sacred. We have to think sacredness of our own selves, our own bodies, our own thoughts, because we are teaching.
Mm-hmm. At all times.
For what we do, our actions, our personality, our characteristics, whatever you may call it as women, we are the teachers of our future generations. And it's too bad, I can probably say, because it wouldn't have been as chaotic as it is in our world today if we didn't have our religion taken away, our sacred ways, our ceremonies taken away, because our people are in chaos. They forget the sacredness of themselves. They forget to think about sacredness of all the gifts that was provided to us by Hočoka. And that's just my thought. That's just my thought, is if we had our way of teaching and to keep this going, the honor, the respect, the compassion, the love that we should have had was taken away because we weren't allowed to practice.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, and I just, I think those are just some of the things that Della and I wanted to talk about. Hers would be the Hočoka, the strong woman,
Beautiful.
And then for me, it would be the sacredness of women.
The dynamic duo, Dellmarie and Della.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that even young people, if they could come, young females, the children, if they're able to go ahead and understand what is happening, I'd sure like to have them come.
Absolutely.
Come to the workshop or the little weekend gathering.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of being prepared, like I had said, just basically through my thought process and the dreams that I had. I was telling you about the dream about our thumbprints within that medicine wheel.
Yes.
I want to go ahead and have that happen, because I think that would be a good reminder for us all that every thumbprint, every one of us is our own individual, but yet at the same time we are sacred in a way that we are teaching our younger children.
Beautiful, Del. Beautiful. Wopila for the teachings today.
Well, thank you. Are we at that time?
It's time for a closing prayer.
Yeah, the listeners, I am so glad. If you stand with prayers, I know I did, but I have a job. I got hired for a job, and I'm all excited. I feel worthwhile now.
Aw, you're always worthwhile.
You all have a good day and beginning of spring. Think of it as a new beginning for all of us. The renewal, to smudge yourselves and just say, okay, this is the beginning of life, where everything grows and everything. So it's a day, it's the beginning of renewal, and I'm going to go out and do that.
Thank you,
you all have a good day.
Thank you.